Welcome to HT News, the weekly happenings in Hattrick, and this time for season 77, week 3. We'll be going over the weekly statistics about the strongest leagues, best teams and greatest upsets, as well as some interesting discussions from the global forum. So let's begin. Do you want to say something?
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Do you want to hit the mic? Hey guys, it's Papa Mish and Sam, and I want to try this new series of short videos speaking about the weekly happenings in Hattrick, checking out interesting stats and discussions. I'll be using two chpp sites to help me out. First one is Hattrick Stats and the second one is Altid. In this Hattrick Stats site, we could see the hardest leagues, best teams, and also best individual performance for each tactical level. We could sort this on a weekly basis or as the best performance or as a seasonally average. We have the opportunity to sort different leagues. We have the opportunity to check this season or previous seasons, and also globally or each country individually. Another two things that developer add, we have the opportunity to see the best 10 teams on the main page, or sort this if we'll open this up for every league in existence or every team in existence, and also this little cool button that will allow us to easily copy paste from this side to a Hattrick post if you want to brag, if your team got a really nice score and you are ranking very high on the on a weekly schedule, or maybe you're playing in a tough division in your country. So play with the site and check it out. So now I want to start with the hardest league for week number 3. And first one is Maestro Liga from Estonia, averaging 518 head stats. Second place is Ligat Al from Israel, averaging 515 head stats, and third place is Prava Slovenia Liga, the Slovenia Premier Division, with 513 head stats. Then we have Hungary, the second division from the Netherlands, Belgium, Georgia, Serbia, Croatia and Portugal. Moving on to the best teams for week number 3, and the first spot is held by Gambiti 2, a monstrously strong team from the Czech Republic, scoring 607 head stats. Rank number 2 is belonged to Team Lotus from Brazil with 606 head stats, and the third place is Vic de Coen from Belgium with 603. Then we have two teams from Poland, Więcjaki and the Estra, a team from Denmark, Rostenstoken, NK Grizzly from Slovenia, Gradinari from Romania, Tempest United from Sweden and BPP United from the Netherlands. Moving on to the teams that reach the best tactical levels for week number 3. For the best longshot tactic, we have Fighting Donkeys from United States with a tactical level of 28. The best counterattack was Team Finisher from Spain with a tactical level of 32. The best pressing was held by Deportivo Cheonan from Hattrick International with 19. Best attack in middle was at Kozot Kisikukak from Hungary with 36. Team Narnia from Argentina scored 34 tactical level for attack on wings, and the best creative teams for this week was the Outfits from the United States and Unpredictable Little Mice from Poland, scoring a tactical level of 27. And now for the second chpp site that I'll be showing. This is Altid. It has a lot of different statistics, but the stat that I'll be showing is the most surprising matches. When a team with a lower head stat surprised with some help from the match engine, the big favorite having much higher ratings. The thing that I love the most in this feature, it shows that everyone is suffering from random. And I just suffered from some random this week, so you are not alone. A lot of people are getting screwed by the match engine. Other things that we could see here, the main page is showing us the global rating from all over the world. How many teams we have, how many players are playing in Hattrick, how many goals were scored, and how many players got injured during the matches. We have the most used formation. For instance, for week number 3, the most used formation was a 3-5-2, the standard with 37%. We have some averages for the average rating throughout Hattrick and so on, and the more surprising matches that I'll be showing in a moment. Other things that we have here is the top teams, similar to the ones that we showed before. Here we are having the top 6. The teams with the highest salary, it's an interesting stat. Team Susteko, a very famous team from Denmark, they are paying 1.2 million euros stats. And I have to check out if they are just sitting in a lower division trying to win the cup and go to the Hattrick Masters, or I don't know, maybe training a lot of players. We have the top matches, the matches that accumulated the most amount of hat stats together. This is quite interesting. So the first one was Team VK de Cohen, and we saw them from Belgium, and they scored 603 hat stats, and they played at home against the Gachbalen that had 525 hat stats. That's a lot of hat stats for one match. We have the players with the highest salary in the game. We have players scoring the most amount of starts in a match. And also we have the top attendance for the week, 88k. The winning streak, so we have here a team from San Marino, Pamplona Pilgrims. Oh, I know them. They are Nick Carna's team. They have 29 consecutive victories, the same as Limerick Rogues from Ireland. And the top scorer for Hattrick after 3 weeks for now is Jean-Baptiste Desire with 13 goals. But now back for my beloved stat from here, the surprising matches. And the team that suffered the biggest random by head stats this week is Schimpansen Clan from Austria. They had 319 head stats and they lost 1-2 to Team Gunners Club, having only 185 head stats. At game number 4 here, by the most surprising matches, we have United Fuji, and they had 503 head stats, losing 2-3 to Artemisia with only 341 head stats. So if you got screwed by the match engine, you suffered from random, don't worry, you are not alone. In the last part of this news video, I wanna bring up some interesting discussions from the forums, because in Hattrick it's all about community and communication, and the breathing heart where we share ideas are the forums, and especially the global forum. So here are 3 interesting discussions that I saw this week. The first one is the developers blog called "In a Few Days, but I Want It Now." And here in this developers blog, Hattrick are speaking about something very important, and this is the retention rate of new managers. Only 1 in 4 managers joining Hattrick is staying here after a month, and they wanted to use some not so new idea, but very important one in the world of gaming, and this is gratifications. Maybe it's constant gratification, maybe not so much, but they run a test and they made a control group of new managers signing in and playing normally, and another group when they brought them some rewards for login streaks, and it looks something like this. If you constantly log in every day, after sometimes you'll start getting some RP points, and those RP points could be swapped for Hattrick points, where you could give nicknames for your players, run replays, or even swap those RP points for supporter months. And this is pretty cool. It's not such a big reward. Another thing that could happen if you are constantly signing, that your team will get a small cash bonus that you could use to buy new players or increase your stadium on or hire better staff. It's not a game-changing reward, and I think it's pretty nice. And the big thing, the punchline at the end of this experiment is the fact that the group that had the constant gratification or some gratification and having those rewards for constant signing streaks, they stayed 52% of the managers stayed after a month. And this is a big bump, twice as many managers as the control group. And I'm just thinking, this is something really nice. And in a couple of months, I'll be celebrating 10 years in Hattrick. I don't think in those 10 years I missed more than 50 days of not signing in. So how many RP points should I get for this? But I'm just happy that new managers are getting this. And from now, every manager signing Hattrick will have this small rewards for consecutive login streaks. The second discussion that I want to bring up from the global forum is something called renaming players and man marking, and it's made by Tempre and Tempress United, and we already encountered this team because he had the 8th or 9th highest rating for this week. So here's just saying, there is a small way that Hattrick should be aware of managers trying to exploit name changing. When you want to man mark your opponent, you have the opportunity to choose the name of the player you want to man mark. But if your opponent is changing all the last names of the players to the same one, giving them the same nickname and giving them the first name that starts with the same letter, and he gives us an example: Dan Superhero Headscar, Dane Superhero Denscar, Dave Superhero Headscar, Dirk Superhero Headscar. When you'll want to man mark a player from this team, you'll have a list of players saying DS Headscar, DS Headscar. You wouldn't know who to man mark. And this means that managers who are paying for Hattrick, having a platinum or diamond tier supporter, and then renaming every player so you won't be able to know who to man mark, they'll have an unfair advantage. In these discussions, Hattrick approached this, and eventually they did a solution. Right now, if the same players will have the same name, you'll see the player ID. So you could go scout the opponent, see which player's ID you want to man mark, and then you'll be able to man mark the right player. Other ideas for this, people were saying, okay, show the original name of the player, show if someone is changing the name of the player, only it will be visible for him and not other managers. But eventually I think the solution that Hattrick made is pretty okay. Also, I would like to see specialities of the players that you want to man mark, and that would help make it more helpful. If you want to man mark a TDF, you'll see the little sign of the technical player next to the player's ID or name, and I think it will help us understand and man mark quicker. But I'm happy that Hattrick made a quite quick solution. And the last interesting discussions from the forum this week is loaning players, and I know this idea is already very old and it was mentioned numerous times on the global forum, but it was mentioned right now and it brought up some responses. The big thing is the idea of, I want to loan a player. Maybe a weaker team could loan a player from a stronger team, and then they could use those players to close the gap on their opponents in the league, and they could be more competitive and so on. I'm really personally worried that loaning players in Hattrick could be very problematic. It could be exploited by managers who wants to cheat. Just imagine you want to get your players trained for free, and a friend of yours is constantly loaning your player, paying his salary, training him for 10 seasons, and then eventually you just get a fully trained player and for free, for nothing. So that's one problem. Or maybe you could loan players for zero money for friends, and they could use them in important matches, and if you don't have other friends in the game, you are in a deficit. So this is the biggest issue about loaning players, how people could exploit this, and it could be problematic. But then, making this video, I thought about an idea. Maybe we could loan players from the game and not from other managers. Let's explore this idea. Let's say you are playing in a certain division and you want to loan a player from Hattrick. You'll be able, maybe like levels of staff members, you'll be able to pay a certain amount of money for a certain position, and you'll get a player within a certain TSI range, and it won't be an entry-level player. You never could get something like this, but maybe it could be a player suitable for your division. If you're in the top division, you'll be able to loan nice players. If a player in your team got injured, maybe you'll be restricted to loaning one player a season, but the salary will be according to the level of the player you want to loan, and also you'll be paying a loan fee to the game, to the league, to the players association. But here it's something you can't exploit. The player can't be trained. You are paying for the loan and for his salary, so money is going out of the market, which is very good. And if we'll restrict the number of loans you could do, maybe it could be nice. So I don't know, share your thoughts in the comment section. What would you think about loaning players from the game? So those are the 3 discussions that I saw in the global forum that I think you might find interesting. If you have other discussions that maybe I missed this week, you are welcome to mention them and we'll discuss them as well. So that's it, guys. This is this week's HT News. We spoke about surprising matches, best teams, hardest leagues, and interesting discussions from the forums. And hopefully I'll be doing this on a weekly basis, and those would be short videos, even shorter from today, because today we had a little bit of explanation. So let me know, did you like it? If so, please like the video, help my channel grow, sub if you can, but most importantly, tell me if you like this new concept. With that, let me just say that Hattrick, it's more than a game, it's a community. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next week with another HT News.